News broke that we just experienced our largest one-year population increase in all of American history. It just surged an astounding 3.8 million people. I'll tell you the 3 big future factors this means for you and housing shortly. Take a look at this breaking report in Newsweek and elsewhere. I'll break it down. I'm Keith Weinhold. USA Today recently talked to me about the housing supply crisis, and all this immigration just makes it worse. 3.8 million. This is the largest, yes, one-year population increase in United States history. This is momentous. This is groundbreaking because this goes back 120 years here. Yes, the biggest annual population gain in America's then 248-year history, sourced through the CBO and the Census Bureau. What changed is that previous census estimates of just a 1.6 million person increase had severely underestimated immigration flows. This means that our population was up more than 1% just last year alone, and this can mean more cars on your highway, more homeless people in your community, and more of a strain on services for education and healthcare. And then our focus here, housing. Most of America's population increase now comes from immigration, not natural increase. Natural increase is births minus deaths. All right, now some weeks, 10,000 migrants a day, every single day, are estimated to cross our borders. And yes, it's not just the border, it's U.S. borders. You're often thinking about Latin Americans entering our southern border with Mexico, but on our northern border with Canada, agents recently arrested a group of Chinese people trying to sneak into Maine from Canada. And this is not just a one-off thing. In fact, the number of Chinese nationals seeking entry into the U.S. has been on the increase since fiscal 2021. The US-Canada border is, in fact, the longest international border in the entire world. It's more than 5,000 miles long. How do we enforce that? And that's just one of America's borders. All told, last year alone, border agents encountered more than 2.5 million immigrants, talking about all of our borders there. How do we house immigrants when we can't house our own veterans? How do we not provide enforcement at our own borders and yet fund what's happening at the Ukraine-Russia border or the Israel-Palestine border? Okay, they are all valid questions, but we are a real estate channel. I'm here to ask, what does this do to the already awful housing shortage in America? And you can see here that we have less than half of the available supply of homes that we historically have, all while our population just increased faster than it ever has. See, the shortage of affordable housing has already created an increase in homelessness of 12% in America just last year alone. All right, now that itself was an all-time record surge too. And by the way, yes, I call US residents Americans. For residents of other nations, there's zero pejorative connotation here. The United States of America was the first nation to use the word America in its name, and today it's still the only nation in the world to officially use the word America in its name. That's why if you live in the United States, you can confidently call yourself an American. It's okay. Well, this population growth, it drives real estate prices, and it also drives rents, and it is time to call this out right now. U.S. housing is still so horribly undersupplied that I've rarely encountered a supply-demand inflection point like this that requires such attention. Even if our population dropped, we'd badly need more housing. I mean, locating an available property is already more elusive than finding the missing car keys or finding the lost laundry sock. It's gonna get worse. finding a property, let alone the one that you actually want. If you're looking to be a first-term home buyer, it's worse for you. You don't have any equity to roll forward. Right, well, for your opportunity today, if you can afford to own entry-level housing that you rent to others, it is an astounding real estate investment window. What's this going to do for Section 8 housing vouchers? Now, see, in most asset classes, the future is just largely unknown, like in stocks or futures markets, derivatives, bonds, crypto, gold, oil, other commodities. I mean, all largely unknown. And real estate has unknowns too, but there are 3 giant certainties for real estate right now, and they're all positive factors. The first is more inflation. The second is that prolonged scarce supply of housing. We might not be able to build our way out of it for an entire decade or more. And then thirdly, what this is really about today, and this is what's new, astoundingly good demographics that fuel even more housing demand amidst this low supply. It is all inevitable. You know, a lot of people, they try to predict the future and they fail. But these 3 profitable real estate tailwinds for investors are as assured as you forgetting someone's name immediately after they introduce themselves. This can be a once-in-a-decade opportunity. Provide Americans with housing. We need it. You have other high-income countries like Japan and much of Western Europe, and they are sweating buckets thinking about how their nation's aging populations are sending them over a demographic cliff. And here's the thing. America's largest group of immigrants are working age producers, aged 25 to 54, and they are overwhelmingly renters, not homeowners. And they're probably going to be renters for a long time, long duration renters. Now, long term, of course, some immigrants are going to be producers for our society, and hopefully some of them will fill the very construction jobs that we need so that we can build our way out of this supply hole, maybe, just maybe, within about 10 years. By 2035, nobody knows when. There are just too many factors, but the high demand, low supply imbalance, that's going to persist for several years or more. This immigration surge at this level, that might not last. That depends on policy, regulation, and the next presidential election outcome. The bottom line is that even if immigration comes to a sudden stop, that the addition of an all-time record 3.8 million Americans in 1 year has left an indelible mark on real estate demand, the economy, and nearly all of society. And residential real estate investors will own a scarce asset that everyone is going to need. You can't sit out the housing market. And I've got something more crucial for you on how this immigrant population surge exacerbates homelessness. And there's a top predictor of what could make you homeless. It's not poverty or even drugs. It's something housing related. It's not good news. It's a related video to watch now. You can watch this one next.